Christian Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Courage to be Imperfect, How to Release Yourself from Unrealistic Expectations and Start Enjoying Life, by Elizabeth Danks Robbins. Narrated by Sarah Zimmerman. Introduction. We are not called to be perfect. I was 16, standing in the bread aisle at the grocery store, the first time a stranger walked up to me and told me I was throwing my life away. I was buying bread and I was pregnant. Something about that made her decide she should tell me how she felt about it. Unfortunately, she wasn't the only person to share her opinion with me. Hearing comments like, "You are going to give that baby up for adoption, right?" and "babies shouldn't raise babies," became a routine for me, not only during my pregnancy, but for years as a teen mom. Everywhere I turned, people expected me to fail. I didn't have to assume they were judging me. The polite ones whispered. The inconsiderate ones said their rude comments straight to my face. The inability to go into any public place without being shamed was a heavy weight for me to carry as an adolescent already struggling with confidence and self-worth. I felt like I was being crushed under a giant pile of opinions. I was fearful that all those watching eyes would catch any little mistake I made, and I would be forced to give up my baby. There was nowhere I could go that pregnant teenagers were accepted. There was no one telling me I could do it, and it was the loneliest time of my life. The day my perfectionism started. I was sitting on my bathroom floor waiting for my pregnancy test results. It didn't take the full 3 minutes the box said it would. It felt like only seconds had passed when the test turned positive. And the moment it did, my life stopped being about me. It was like a switch flipped inside me. I became a mother right there on the bathroom floor. I started planning and preparing. I had to figure out how I was going to do this. How was I going to support us? How was I going to tell my mother? How would I handle being up all night with a baby while going to school? I put all my efforts into figuring out how to pivot and make this work. But I didn't think about or prepare for the expectations other people would have for me and how they would tear me apart for the next decade. I don't know if I can accurately describe loving your child, wanting nothing more than to raise him, and feeling like the world is watching and waiting for any excuse not to let you. Maybe you felt that too. Maybe you felt the pressure of trying to prove someone wrong about you. Every day I felt immense pressure to prove to the world that I could take care of my baby. I felt like I had to prove I deserved the chance to be a mother. So I tried to prove myself. I worked as hard as I could. I dropped out of high school and got my GED. At 17, I decided to go to nursing school so I would have a stable career that would support us. For the next 4 years, I applied for daycare assistance, tuition assistance, and student loans so I could afford diapers and food. I told myself that I had to get my bachelor's degree in 4 years. I thought that would really prove something to everyone, to all those people who thought I was throwing my life away. My life revolved around daycare drop-offs, school, evenings with my son, and nights doing homework. I didn't really want to be a nurse, but I had to do something because I needed to survive, and I felt like I needed to prove myself as a worthy mom. If I can do all of this, maybe they will respect me. Maybe they will stop telling me I can't do it. Maybe I'll feel worthy enough to be his mom. I felt trapped underneath the immense pressure to be perfect and never fail. It was crushing me and made my life so much more complicated than it ever should have been. But why? Why did I feel like I had to do all of this? I lived under the pressure of perfectionism for years. I was trying to do everything right, fearing one mistake would lead my life off track and someone would say, "See, she can't do it." The opinions of strangers weighed heavy, but it was the opinions of people I loved that hurt the most. My family members looked at me like I had died. One even told me, "You aren't going to hang around this town and go to school pregnant." I was called a slut and constantly criticized by people who had always told me they loved me. I was a straight-A student who worked 2 jobs.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?